Ah, yes, Superman, the Man of Steel, the hope of DC, the one guy left in Hollywood who still wears underwear outside his pants, unironically. And now, he's flying faster than a speeding bullet straight into box office mediocrity. Because James Gunn's Superman isn't just tracking lower than expected, it's tracking like it's got kryptonite in both kneecaps. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Critical Nerd. I'm your humble host, Chris, and this is the only place where superhero cinema gets roasted harder than WB execs at a SnyderCon Q&A. Today, we're diving into James Gunn's Superman, a movie that was supposed to save DC and might just bury it instead. So hit that like button, subscribe if you've ever watched a DC film out of morbid curiosity, and let's get into why this movie might crash harder than a Kryptonian spaceship in Smallville. So, once upon a time, like 5 weeks ago, industry trackers had Superman pegged for a big $145 to $175 million domestic opening. DC fans were doing victory laps. James Gunn was measuring his office for a second ego shelf. But then the projections just got nuked. Now, the fine folks over at Fandom Pulse and ThatParkPlace.com have it tracking between $90 and $125 million. That's not just a drop. That's a Wile E. Coyote off a cliff plunge with an Acme anvil tied to its cape. For perspective, that's lower than Thor: Love and Thunder. It's lower than The Batman. It's lower than Captain America: Brave New World, and that movie looks like a wet napkin taped to a green screen. But don't worry, Warner Brothers has a plan. They're banking everything on word of mouth. Because clearly, the billion-dollar reboot strategy is this. It's strip out truth, justice, and the American way. Now, just as an aside here, I know some of you are going to say, well, that hasn't been in the comics in 10 years. That was stripped out in 2015. And Man of Steel didn't reference truth, justice, or the American way. Yeah, I get it. But you know what? I grew up on Superman. Going back to the George Reeves series on TV, the reruns, 1950s. Superman was always truth, justice, and the American way. But I digress. Second part of the reboot strategy. Blow $200 million. Yeah, let's just set that money on fire. Hope audiences say, well, it wasn't that bad. This is genius, absolute genius. Now, early access screenings on July 8th, yeah, they're reportedly selling pretty well. Really well, in fact. But that's assuming people walk out saying Guardians 3 vibes or not Justice League reshoot flashbacks. Yeah, those are your options. Let's not forget, this is the first movie in Gunn's bold new DCU. The one that's supposed to erase Black Adam, Shazam 2, Flash, and Aquaman 2 for a collective trauma. But good luck launching your cinematic universe when your past 4 projects are the cinematic equivalent of stepping on Lego bricks barefoot. Yeah, Superman has unaided awareness at 30%. That's higher than Top Gun Maverick. But you know what else people are aware of? Pap smears and jury duty. Awareness doesn't equal interest. Its first choice score is lower than Brave New World, The Batman, and Guardians 3. I mean, even Aquaman is like, dude, that's rough. So now, Superman has 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks to rake in the dough before Fantastic Four First Step shows up to pants him in front of the whole cafeteria. And Fantastic Four, Marvel's B team, mind you, it's already outpacing Superman in early hype and tracking. That's like getting dunked on by Ant-Man's intern. Gunn recently told Rolling Stone, and I quote, "We just need to make our budget back." Translation? Please clap. I mean, let's not sugarcoat this. DC's brand is radioactive. I mean, I'm talking Chernobyl with capes. Joker 2 can't even get traction. And it's got Lady Gaga in it. That's how deep this trust issue goes. And don't even get me started on the Henry Cavill fans. They're still mad. They're still editing his face onto every poster. Still convinced he's the only man who can lift a car and a franchise at the same time. The audience is burnt out. Snyderverse fans are bitter. Gunn fans are few. And general audiences are like, wait, didn't they already reboot Superman like 5 times? So let's zoom out here. Look at this big picture. This isn't just about Superman. This is about whether superhero movies are finally crashing into that big old wall called reality. You can't spend $250 million on a movie and say you're okay breaking even. That's not confidence. That's preemptive damage control. And if Superman bombs, and I'm sincerely hoping it doesn't, I want this movie to succeed. If Fantastic Four face plants after, I don't want that movie to bomb either. I want it to succeed. I mean, if these two things bomb, faceplant, whatever you call it, that's it. That's the Jen you're waving the white cape. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe it's time Hollywood stopped chasing billion-dollar capes and started telling stories again. You know, those weird things with characters, arcs, no post-credit scenes teasing a spinoff no one wants. So, is Superman going to bomb? Maybe. Could it surprise us and defy the odds like Guardians 3? Sure. But the data, the patterns, the vibes, they're all pointing to a rough landing. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is this thing gonna fly, or are we watching DC strap a cape to a brick and tossing it off a cliff? Smash that like button, subscribe for more Hollywood autopsies, and I'll see you next time. And until then, stay nerdy, stay critical, and don't trust any studio that thought The Flash was a good idea. Critical Nerd, out.